Hey, Nick. Hey, Troy. My name's Justin. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Great,
And
thanks.
you might win for coolest real background.
Yeah, I know. What's
I
happening
guess so.
there?
Like they're not artificial. Yeah, it's a bit of a studio.
Love it.
Do
Yeah.
little photo shoots
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
it works.
I'm very excited to be talking to you guys about this movie. It's such a delight, and by the sounds of it, a long time coming. Based on the journey. With that in mind, I want to know, how do you guys feel now that this movie's finally out? Audiences are seeing it. You're getting some great reactions. How you guys both feeling?
It's amazing.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
amazing. I mean, we love the story. We love the characters. We love what it represents, like this story about acceptance and getting to know people. And the fact that it's going to be out in the world soon is, especially after being killed at one
Yeah.
point, is amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing that the story of the story has been what's been out for so long, but now people can react to the actual movie. And to see people react to the film itself is so gratifying.
Yeah, it definitely hits the heart, and I really appreciated my time with it. I've seen it twice now, and each time you're finding new layers of personality and discovery. It's such a great experience, and like you guys are mentioning, it was a lengthy process to get this movie to the finish line. I wanted to know, what was probably the biggest challenge. What did you guys have to do collectively to kind of overcome that?
Uh,
Biggest this
I,
that was
I honestly
a
think
big question.
our biggest challenge is, I mean, we were given this incredible work by ND Stevenson and this incredible character of Nimona, who doesn't conform to anything, who is essentially a love letter to all those who've ever felt misunderstood, who also shouldn't conform. And yet we're in a medium where animation is often treated like a genre, and what that means is sometimes there's expectations like Nimona looks too punk. She aspirational enough? Does she need to look like your classic, Disney princess?
How many times can she say murder?
Yes. So it's just like so many times along the way, it was us standing up for who we thought this real punk character was and is, and not wanting to conform to all that. And we were very lucky to find a home with Annapurna and Netflix, who supported that in such a powerful way. We got to tell a story that we felt was real, authentic, and with a character who we absolutely love for it.
I think Nimona is probably one of the most relatable characters. I could relate to her teen angst and her frustrations and everything. So well. It's so rich. And you mentioned the idea that animation is often seen as a genre. Why is animation such a great platform for just telling great stories, and why it should be seen more than just a genre?
Well, I mean, animation, we have the ability to, I think, even beyond what you can do in live action, is tell that story and reflect those characters in every aspect of the world building. I mean, from the choices we make. I mean, obviously we've got lights here in the studio, and you've got all those same
Right.
choices, but how we have that light interact, how we design the characters specifically, how we design the world, just elements that are fundamental and in the DNA of what you're seeing, I think allow us to make sure that it if we're doing our jobs right, it seeps into every frame, into every little bit of detail you got. So when you sit down to watch an animated film, you're already opening yourself up to this creative experience, and opening yourself up to the ability to believe in the magic that's about to happen. And I think that right there allows you to connect in just a broader way right out of the gate, and let you tell stories that are complex and funny and entertaining and varied, and again, not limited by genre or expectation. It really, there's no limit in animation, which is kind of a reflection of Nimona.
I love that response. I think that that's the mentality and thinking that needs to go behind more animated.
Right.
How people need to look at animation.
Yeah.
We're huge fans of animation here at Geekcentric, and a lot of movies connect with us from our childhood. I wanted to know, for you guys, growing up, was there a movie that connected with you? Because I'm sure like this movie is going to connect with a lot of people. Was there anything in your past that really resonated with you as from an animated feature standpoint?
Oh man, I mean, so many. I mean, we were, before we were directors, we were animators.
Yeah.
And it's really because you feel and there's so many things that you've watched growing up as a kid where you feel the journey of someone small in a world that's so big, and you're just trying to navigate it, and you can feel how every frame comes from the heart. And it comes from a real place, and it speaks to you in a way that I feel like animation is the one thing that everyone agrees on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to pick just one movie, but I think that's what we always try to bring is the fun with also a real message behind it. And again, the message of this film is pretty simple, and it's just get to know each other.
Yeah.
Get to know each other, inclusivity, and the idea that you're using animation, like you said, it already feels like an inclusive platform. It's just, it all layers really, really well. So I absolutely love that. You know what? Let's get a little fun here. I'd
right.
love to know if you guys had shape-shifting powers, who would you want to live for as a day? Nick, why don't you kick us off?
I would probably, for a day, I'd want to know what it feels like to be Aaron Judge from the New York Yankees, just to smash a ball that far and be such a good person, and everybody loves them, and you get to wear those pinstripes, and everyone, oh man, he's the greatest. Aaron Judge, if you're watching this, I love you.
Awesome.
I knew that answer. I could have answered that question for him.
There you go. There you go.
That's a tough one. I mean, it does. It changes from day to day.
Yeah.
I wish I had an answer. I mean,
He also wants to be Aaron Judge.
I do.
Aaron Judge is one of the greatest athletes that's out there right now. He's a great person.
Done. Done. Aaron Judge. So I could learn how to play baseball.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time and answering some questions. Again, I really enjoyed this movie, and I most importantly, I enjoyed your passion and commitment to bringing this movie to life, because the trials and tribulations that this movie went through, it would not stop, and people wanted to see this movie and wanted to see it to the finish line, and I'm grateful for it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Cheers.
Hey, ND, my name is Justin. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
I imagine there's a immense amount of emotions right now. This is a story that you have been working on. I think you started in art school, right? When you were young. So now to see all these characters in this world come to life, like, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been more than 10 years with these characters. And, the book came out in 2015. And so at the time, like, that was really sad. It felt like saying goodbye to characters that I'd spent so much time with. So what's great about, like, getting to be a part of the process of this movie is that I get to keep spending time with these characters that I love so much. And they're growing and they're going out into the world, and like, I'm realizing that so many people see themselves in these characters, not just me. It's like seeing your kids go off to college, and it's just like this is just the beginning, like the whole world is about to like start getting to experience this version of these characters, and it's super, super cool.
I found Nimona incredibly relatable for myself, right? Growing up and having similar sort of angst and frustrations, maybe not at the extreme of as metal and, as Nimona, but, that angst and that sort of, that I desire of wanting to be seen. And there's such a beauty to these characters in this story, and it's so relatable, bringing them into animation and bringing them into this new platform. Have you discovered new things about the characters? Have they evolved for you in some ways?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they have evolved in a lot of ways. Some of them are pretty different, like especially Golden Loin, I think, has changed the most, where he's very goofy in the comic. And he's sort of an absurd character. And then Eugene brings such a, he's genuinely really heroic, even if he's stuck on kind of the wrong side of the conflict. But yeah, I think they just keep revealing more aspects. I think with characters, it's like sometimes they feel literally real. And sometimes they feel like little parts of myself, and sometimes I feel like my kids, and like sometimes some mixture of all of those things. But they really become real when other people start to put their love into them, whether that's readers of the book or watchers of the movie or the people making it or the people reacting to it in any way. That's what makes them feel real. And so I think for me, like, it just feels like these characters are taking the next step in their evolution. We all go through life phases, and I feel like that's part of like the growth of them, and them just spreading farther out into the world and taking on a life of their own.
I love that. That's part of sharing this incredible story, right? It's kind of letting it grow and seeing how the world kind of takes it and how they interact with the world. And with that, have there been any, any reactions to the movie that have really cemented why you created Nimona?
We just had this really, really incredible and emotional world premiere in Annecy in France. And it was kind of I've seen this movie many times, and I've seen the finished version many times, and I've seen it on the big screen several times too. So like nothing about the movie itself was new, and yet in this, with all these people in the room for the first time, there was like I had a really different experience where I felt both like this character is like the manifestation of my angst from a certain time in my life. And the audience is just like reacting with so much love and empathy that I felt like that, like part of me that was very complicated and angry and scared and lost and lonely was being seen and loved. And it was like, I was incredibly emotional. I think seeing that audience and like hearing the like sniffles as like people like are crying
Yeah.
through the last like 20 minutes of the movie. And it just is like, it made me feel like, ironically, I guess, because this is what's happening in the movie, it made me feel like seen and accepted. And then it also made me feel like so much less alone because there were so
Yes.
many people here who were seeing themselves in her. It was really profoundly emotional.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a sense of validation for something that's so personal, you hold close to your heart, and now it's being, presented on this huge platform. It's amazing to see all the love and appreciation it's getting, and it's so deserving of it. Okay, I want to ask you a geeky question.
Okay.
We're huge collectors here on the Geekcentric podcast. Are there any collectibles from the properties you've worked on that you've added to your collection that you're super proud of? Are you a collector of like statues and figures and toys in general?
Yeah, I like hoarded everything I could get from She-Ra, which is the first time I ever had like, oh, I guess that's not true. I guess Lumberjanes had merch too. I've been really lucky in this. Yeah, so I try to get everything I could get my hands on for if there's any merch out there, I try and get it. And sometimes I just like I gave some to my nephew knowing that like he like cut She-Ra's hair and like banged up the sword and everything. But it is like it's more about like just holding on to those memories. And
Mhm.
even if they get they get a daring new haircut at the end of it. But I think the weirdest thing I tried to take this, I didn't succeed. I tried to take home a huge like She-Ra cardboard cutout at my last job, and I couldn't fit her in the car. And so I couldn't do it. But I do try to keep a little bit of everything that I've worked
That's
on.
good.
So yeah,
That's
everything
great.
for
Awesome.
Nimona, I'm like,
Trying to get it
oh yeah.
all. Well, listen, in an interview with Canada's own Eric Bauza, I heard that you're a huge Star Wars fan, and we here at Geekcentric are huge Star Wars fans. And while I would love to know what sort of story you would want to tell in a galaxy far, far away, we don't have enough time for that. But I'd love to know, if you were to do Star Wars, would you want to do something in animation space, or would you want to do something in live action?
I mean, I would love to be a part of Star Wars in any way, and I've done a little bit of writing for some animated series for Star Wars, but anything to do with the bounty
Mm.
hunters, anything to do with Sam Wessel and Jango Fett, and like anything in that world, that's my absolute dream, whatever that looks like.
Well, I would love to see a story from you, Indy, in Star Wars.
All right.
Just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Your
Good to know.
voice, you have such a great voice, and your stories are great. You're a trailblazer, and I am so happy for all the love that this movie is getting. It is so deserving of it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to join us on the Geekcentric podcast. It really means a lot.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to meet you.
Have a good one.